Okay, stop it.
Go.
Hi, welcome to Nikki's Kitchen, and today I am going to cook Easter dinner 2020. We're going to call this the quarantine dinner. So what I'm making today is going to be fried chicken wings, and I'm going to try out a new seasoning. Normally I use my own seasonings, but I'm going to try out the Zatarain seasoning, the hot and spicy one. And then I am also going to make mac and cheese. And I'm going to change it up a little bit because macaroni being out of stock because of the whole quarantine thing. So I'm going to use these noodles called bronze cut noodles. And that's going to be for the macaroni. And then green beans. I got the Kroger brand. We'll go through the whole rinsing them off and preparing the green beans with some red skinned potatoes. And then I have turkey to also put in there. And to top it off, a little something sweet. I'm going to make some candy yams, some sweet potatoes with brown sugar, a little bit of cinnamon, nutmeg, and some vanilla. So, first part of it is just basically going to be the prep. So, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start by getting the noodles ready. So, I have already started the water to boil. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to keep the noodles from sticking to my water, just a smidge it. And I recommend some salt. So I just put a little bit of salt. I'm using some sea salt for this. And because I'm using a smaller pan, I'm not going to cook the entire bag of noodles. So I'll put in about a third of the bag. We'll do about half a bag. It's about half a bag of the noodles. And then I'll set my timer for 10 minutes and I will start my next prep. So that's going to boil. It has the oil in there, a little bit of salt, dash of salt. So what I'm going to do next is go ahead and start prepping my green beans so that they can get prepared, and then they're going to go in the oven, which go ahead and get your oven ready as well. So I'm going to turn the oven to 350 because I always bake at 350. Hand wash. And for like canned goods and things like that, I use a vinegar and water mixture, and that's also to rinse off my vegetables, just to rinse off the canned goods. Wipe them off before opening them, because you know they sit in the warehouse. So you want to get your canned goods cleaned off before you open them. And what I normally do is I'll open the green beans, I'll put them into a colander, and then I'll rinse them. Because you know the canned goods, they kind of have a aluminum can type of smell. So I like to rinse them off where they smell like they're fresh, and then start with the whole preparation. So let's go ahead and get the cans open, and then I'll show you how I prepare my green beans. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get the green beans prepared. So I'm going to show you one layer, and then you'll basically repeat the process. So you have your green beans, and what I did is I just basically put 1 can of green beans in here. And then you're going to cut up your potatoes, and you can cut them up to whatever size you like. I like my potatoes like kind of diced. So you cut up your potatoes, and once you have your potatoes prepared, and ready to go into your green beans, you are going to add your meat. So I already rinsed my green beans. Again, like I said, I use a vinegar and water solution to clean all of my fruits and vegetables. So I cleaned the potatoes already. So after you cut up everything, what you're going to do is you are going to season it just a bit, not a lot. I like to not over season my food. And if someone feels they needs a little bit more of salt and pepper, then they are more than welcome to add more seasoning to the meal. And I'm not one of those people that get offended if someone seasons it after I season it, unless it's way too much salt being used. So we have the green beans cut up. Next, what I'm going to do is bring over my turkey leg. Rinse that off. And then you're going to cut some chunks out of the turkey leg. And then place it, take the skin off. You don't want the, even though it adds flavor to it, I mean, I would just recommend to take off the skin. And also cut your turkey meat into chunks or bite-sized pieces. This is also going to flavor your green beans. So again, that's why I would not add a lot of salt to it during the preparation part. I will let whoever's eating it add whatever seasoning they want to add after the fact, because this is going to give it some really good flavor. My turkey leg is still a little frozen, which is all right. Remember, take the skin off. Bite-sized pieces. So I think I'm going to just have just about that much. Because with the green beans, not everyone in my household eats green beans. So I was going to make the 3 jars, but I'm only going to make 2 cans of green beans. So now what I would do is I would go ahead and add a little bit of salt and pepper to the green beans. So I like the Himalayan pink salt. So I went ahead and I already ground up some. And I would just add just a small amount. Add some black pepper. And then I would top it with the remaining green beans. Top it with the remaining green beans. And then just for these green beans, because they are not seasoned, I would add a little more salt and pepper. And the rest of the salt that's in there. And then cover it. Add a little bit of water to it because there's no guarantee it's going to make water. Add just a bit of water so that it can steam while in the oven. So I will add water to it, cover it with some foil, put it in the oven on 350 for about 45 minutes. And the tester is, if you have toothpicks at home, try a toothpick in your potatoes, and if it goes right through, then that means that it's done and you are good to go. The turkey is pre-cooked, so you don't have to worry about cooking the turkey fully. It's just you want to make sure that your potatoes are nice and soft. All right, so next up, we are going to prepare the macaroni and cheese. All right, next we are going to make the macaroni and cheese. So my noodles are done. They have been rinsed and drained. I have prepared my pet milk, which is evaporated milk, 1 egg. I like using the triple cheddar from Walmart, and I also have some mild cheddar that I am going to use. along with some salt and pepper. So first, I always start out by putting in a layer of noodles. So you got your layer of noodles. And because the noodles are not seasoned, I don't count the salt that was put in the water. I always put a little bit of salt and pepper. Before I start to layer my cheese in there. So then start layering your cheese. For a small dish like this, because there's only 4 of us here right now. So for a small dish like this, again, half a package of the noodles. And I usually go through 2 bags of cheese. I like, and my family likes, for the macaroni and cheese to be extra cheesy. So then you put your layer of cheese. So I put in a layer of my triple cheddar. I'll put in a layer or sprinkle about some of my mild cheddar to give it a little bit of kick. Cheddar taste. Again, a little bit of salt and pepper. And then another layer of noodles. So that was perfect. What I decided to boil, the half a package, turned out to be perfect. So before, I don't want to forget that, add a little bit of salt and pepper. Not too much. And then finish off this bag of triple cheddar. So it's 1 bag of triple cheddar down, and then you're gonna add the rest of the, of the mild cheese. And I'm a little short on the mild cheese, so I'm gonna open up the other bag of the triple cheddar to make sure that my top layer is fully coated in cheese. But before I do that, push all your cheese into your pan. Add a little bit more salt and pepper. And then let's go ahead. And I like to fill in my corners. As you'll notice, you'll have some noodles that are showing. I don't like to see any noodles. So I will fill it into the edges, just to ensure that every morsel of noodle is covered in cheese. All right, so that's nice and cheesy. Go ahead, add a little bit more. I always add like a little extra pepper on there. A little bit of salt. All right, a little bit of salt. And then here comes the mixture to hold it all together. So I use a full 5-ounce can of pet milk or evaporated milk and 1 egg. That milk and egg is what's going to give it that creamy taste, and the egg is going to help stiffen your macaroni and cheese and hold it together. So if you like the old school blocks of mac and cheese, you want to make sure that you add an egg to your mixture and then just pour it on the top. And it's going to go all the way down to the bottom. Take your time so it doesn't run off the sides. And this will give you a nice creamy mac and cheese. So again, I cook my mac and cheese on 350, and I normally cook it for a total of an hour, but I'm gonna cook it along with my green beans for the first 45 minutes, and then I'll take the foil off and let it brown and get that brown coating on top. So we're gonna go ahead and put the mac and cheese and the green beans in the oven.
Right.
All right, so now we're gonna make the candy yams, also known as the sweet potatoes. I went ahead and cut them up. My suggestion, again, do a layer just to make sure everything, like all the sugar and the different seasonings that you use, get to the bottom. So I will go ahead and do one layer of sweet potatoes and then add the sugar. Add some sugar to it. Normally I would use light brown, but light brown was out. So I would season them. Basically, I like them sweet. My family likes them sweet. So I would put a nice coating of brown sugar on there. So that's probably a good, maybe quarter cup, half cup. And coat them really good. And then put in a bit of vanilla flavoring, vanilla extract. That's my macaroni and cheese. A little bit of nutmeg. Not much. And some ground cinnamon. And then go ahead and put the rest of your sweet potatoes on top. And you're going to want to put in some more sugar. You do not, because you put so much on that first layer, you do not need to put as much, because what's going to happen, it's going to cook down and it will also absorb some of the sugar that you put in for that first layer. So I wouldn't put too much. Maybe 2 heapings. Spread it out a bit. And add again some nutmeg. Ground cinnamon. And some vanilla extract. And that's pretty much it for my extract anymore. And then to top it off, this is like the most fattening of meals because of all of the brown sugar. And then I also put in some butter. So this is whipped butter. Put in some whipped butter. I would layer that a little bit, not too much, just enough so it can get down to the bottom of the pan. So that's probably a good 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of butter. You can use margarine. I just like butter. So what I would do next is I would cover this and I would put this in the oven, keep it at the same 350 and let it cook covered with foil for at least 45 minutes. Test it with a toothpick to see if it goes right through. That means they're done. If it's not as, if your toothpick can't easily go through your sweet potatoes, then that means that your candy yams are not quite done. You want them nice and soft. So go ahead, do that. Put it in the oven, and you'll find me back here preparing for the chicken wings. Here's the finished mac and cheese.
Yes, somebody has killed you.
Here is the finished mac and cheese. You see a little bit of the egg in there. Looks really good. Alright, just want to show you how cheesy it is. That's going to be so good with those noodles. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start frying up some of the chicken wings. What I like to do is I like to use some like old oil and mix it in with some fresh oil. To me, it gives the crust a crispier texture. So I'm going to pour in some of the oil I already had, which I have fried chicken in this oil before. So that, I don't know how many cups, maybe that's about 2 cups. Okay, so here are our candy yams. So I tested them before I actually took them all the way out of the oven. And to me, they weren't sweet enough. So I sprinkled a little bit of regular granulated sugar on top and put them back in there for about 10 minutes. So this is how they look. You can see some of the seasoning, the cinnamon and nutmeg on them. A little bit of the sugar on the side, and they should be pretty good. Because I took the picture without all that in the background. Okay, so now I'm going to add in some fresh oil. You want to put in enough so that when you put your chicken wings in, it's going to fully coat the wings and deep fry them. So I put in probably about a cup. So I should have a total of about 3 cups of cooking oil in here. And I have prepared my rack to drain the chicken because I want it to remain crispy and drain all the oil out. I don't want it to sit in the oil. So I'm going to drain it on the rack right here and use this as the pan to catch the drippings. So we'll let the grease get hot and then we'll get started frying. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm using, again, the Zatarain hot and spicy chicken fry mix. And I prepared it based on the instructions. I like to cook my drummies first. But for this one, I'm going to cook like 3 drums and 3 flats. Just in case this might be a little too hot. And have my family test it out. So you need to dip it in the mixture. And then you're going to roll it in the flour, the Zatarain flour. So this mixture here is just water and Zatarain mixed. And then go ahead and start frying it. I like to fry my chicken for 20 minutes. Because usually after 20 minutes, you know it is cooked thoroughly. So once you get your chicken in, put your timer to 20 minutes. So again, I'm just going to do six pieces. We'll take it out, test it out, and see how hot and spicy this really is. Alright, so the first batch of chicken is coming out. As you can see, it has a nice crispy coating. Again, this is the Zatarain's chicken fry mix, the hot and spicy. I'm going to let it cool off on the drying rack or the cooling rack and let it drain all that oil off of the chicken. And we're going to test it and see how hot it is, and then I'll determine if I'm going to cook the rest of the chicken in this chicken fry or switch back to another one that I normally use.